first question is it allowed for me to make agreements with my competitors because of the crisis? The consequences of the coronavirus are great for people and for their companies. The Dutch Authority for Consumer and Markets also acknowledged this. She points out that competition rules provide you to work together in times like these to avoid harm to people and also to their business. Agreements that normally restrict companies do not have that effect because of the crisis. And if competition is already restricted, the benefits are likely to outweigh the disadvantage. For example, nowadays supermarkets may inform each other about how much stock they have. And logistics service providers can work together to prevent shortages. And also you can make agreements with each other about the smooth handling of debtors. But be aware, other agreements that this sort of competition remain prohibited. Neither should companies abuse the situation.
Are my employees entitled to salary during the corona crisis? The answer to that question depends on the actual situation. If an employee can work from home, then he is still entitled to a salary if he performs his work from home. If an employee cannot work from home, for example up in the production, then he is only entitled if he works on the floor. If he refuses to work because of the corona risks, then he is not entitled to salary, and then you can ask him to take up some holidays, or you say you don't receive any salary over the period that you don't work. That's about the corona crisis and the right to the entitlement to salary. If an employee calls in sick, then you are obliged to send him to the company doctor, which can determine if he is ill or not. If he isn't ill, then he isn't entitled to any salary. If he is ill, then he is entitled to salary, also if he don't perform any work.
Unfortunately, the corona crisis will probably have a negative financial effect on a lot of businesses in the agriculture sector. This raises the question if there is more room for government support for agriculture because of the corona crisis. And the answer is yes. The European Commission published a temporary framework last week. And under this scheme, the member states may grant individual farmers up to €100,000 in aid. Such an aid scheme must be notified to the European Commission. However, the practice already shows that the European Commission approves very quickly if the aid scheme fulfills the conditions of the temporary framework. And furthermore, Minister Schouten has asked the European Commission to come up with a specific European scheme on the basis of which farmers can be compensated for not harvesting or withdrawing products from the market. The same was in 2014 with regard to the Russian boycott. So let's hope that the European Commission will have a new aid available very quickly.
What are the measures for the companies, for employees from the government? Well, there is one measure particularly which is relevant for the companies in the Netherlands with employees, and that is the temporary guidance from the government if there is a lack of revenue. If you have at least 20% less revenue and you commit that you don't fire any employees during the period of 3 months from 1 March 2020, then you can get help from the government, and a compensation of which is dependent of the amount of revenue which you have lost. It is not clear to which period the revenue will be calculated, but if you have 100% less revenue than before, then you will receive 90% of the salary of the employees as a compensation. What is firing employees? Well, we assume that it is the route of the UWV, and if you don't renew a contract, then it's not firing an employee, and then you will receive the compensation. If you have any more questions, we have a Corona help desk at DVAN, and we will send you as soon as possible an answer to your question.